Hello and welcome to another video. Now, since I've been using the pressure washer to clean gutters and fascias, I've had a lot of people ask me about it. So I thought, I've just unloaded all the gear out of the van, so I've got it all handy, so I thought I'd just do a quick video, go through how I clean the gutters and fascias down using the pressure washer and what equipment I use. So a full run through of the equipment and the way I do it. So the first part of the process is to apply a cleaning chemical, and I am using Synergy Pro Clean from Pure Seal. Now, I've got on really well with Synergy. Seems to be a fantastic cleaning product, really gets everything really up clean nicely. It's got a really nice scent to it, and like a lot of cleaning products, you get a lot of soap off them, so you get a lot of suds, spend a lot of time rinsing. I haven't had that problem with Synergy at all, and it's clean, it's moved most stains. Occasionally you get the odd watermark, but most stains have been clean with the Synergy. Now, the way I apply that is with my constant flow. Now, this is from Ionix. Now, this video is not sponsored by any of these people at all. This is just what I use and how I go about it. So I think, yeah, I've bought all this equipment myself, so there's no sponsorship in this at all. So the constant flow. Now, this is an expensive bit of kit and it isn't necessary. You could just as easily use a gardener or a big boy backpack to apply it, but the reason I use the constant flow is when I've got all my gear in the van, and because I bring the dog to work with me as well, I don't have a lot of space, so this is a bit smaller, just takes up a little bit less room. It holds 2.5 gallons, which I think 10 litres, maybe at a push 11 litres. So there's most houses you'll do with 11 litres, and the Synergy, I mix it up at either between 10 to 1 and 20 to 1 depending on how dirty it is. So that goes up the pole, and I've just got, it was my old Gardener SLX with 8 sections on. I stopped using because it was just getting a bit old and loose. There's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted a newer pole, and this one was, getting a bit long in the tooth, but it's fine for the occasional use. That's the pole. So that's the SLX. I think that's about 35 foot with section 8 on it. And it also, I've got a Streamline brush on here. I'm not really fussed what brush I got on here. It was a spare brush I'd got, so I thought might as well use it because all this is used for is applying the chemical. Now, I know some people say you don't need to brush the chemical once it's on, you can just spray it on, but I actually find with a little bit of agitation as well, it really starts to break up. It really starts to break the dirt up and really gets into it really nicely. So I just spray it up with a constant flow and through this onto the brush, give it a good scrub down, leave it 10-20 minutes. Normally what I'll do is, if I haven't got the rest of the kit set up, I'll apply it, then set the kit up and get ready to wash down. And then just before I start washing down, I'll go and apply it to, say, the back of the house. I applied it to the front of the house to start with. Just before I start washing down, apply it to the back, wash down. That's had time to dwell on the back, and then I'll go and wash down the back then. To wash down, I am using my Kranzle K10. Now, this isn't a cheap pressure washer. It is quite a pricey animal. I think it's around £800, but it's built to last. The pump's all brass on it. I've done a separate video on this, so I'll link that in above somewhere. And it works really well. If anything, I've been turning the pressure down a little bit on this before I've been washing off. 10 litres a minute, way more than you need. You could probably get away with using the Kranzle K10, which is a 7 litre a minute machine, which is slightly cheaper. Especially if you want to be sucking out of a reservoir of some sort. The K10 is designed to go straight from a tap. The K7, you can either go from a tap or from a reservoir. It's something to do with a spring inside it, which I don't know, it's past me, but that's what they say. So yeah, use this. I normally plug into the customer's power. I've never had any problem with that, especially if I'm doing the gutters first, emptying the gutters. I'll just plug an extension lead in, undo the gutter vac, plug this in instead. This comes with, I can't remember if it's 7 or 10 meters a hose, the Kranzle. And what I've done is I have fitted a 22mm, it's 22mm female thread on the end of the Kranzle, and the same on the other end. So I have fitted a quick release onto this, just a 22mm to quick release. That screws in, nice and easy. That's just left on there. Now the good thing about the 22mm, the quick release that I've put on, is it's exactly the same fittings as my big pressure washer. So that, everything that I use now to do with pressure washing has all got the same size fittings on. So it's all quick release 22. So if there's something I need that I'm not using from the other part of the kit, I can swap it over to use with either pressure washer. Get it all set up, plugged into the mains, and then to wash it down, I have bought a Ova8, and this is the 35-foot Ova8. Now, it was built for me by Q Services. It's a Streamline, it's got Streamline on it because Q Services buy them from Streamline, and they build it up for me. So 35-foot Ova8 converted to a pressure pole. So on this end here, you got your trigger, just basic trigger, nothing special about it, but there we go, pressure washer trigger. And then on the other end, where the clever stuff is, you've got your swivel. Now if I just take that off, it'll make it easier to hold and show you while I'm doing it. So on here, here's the swivel. Now it's got the 22mm thread, I think it is, which screws straight onto the top of the pole. That works really nicely. On the other part of the swivel, it's got a 1/4 inch quick release. I've also got a turbo nozzle. Now this is a FP04, so that's the size of turbo nozzle for the 10 litre machine. So this has got a 1/4 inch quick release on it, male. So what makes that nice is just fits straight on. Seconds, you got your turbo nozzle fitted. If you don't want to use a turbo nozzle, if you've got just the ordinary, I haven't got one with me, but I'll insert a picture of that. If you've got the different size spray nozzles, the 1/4 inch push fit ones, that fits on there as well. So if you want to swap out your turbo nozzle to, I've got the set from 0 up to 60 degrees or whatever it is, 65 degrees, and then the soap nozzle as well. Easy enough, just quick release it off and drop the turbo off and put the spray nozzle on. So that is the turbo. So once I've got it all soaped up, I'll start washing down. Now, when you first start using it, you might find yourself fighting the lance a bit, and you've got to be careful how you use it because it will push it out your hand. Once you get used to it, you start to use the pressure of the lance to hold it, so that the turbo nozzle spraying onto it, and that's actually holding it off the gutters, the fascias, whatever you're cleaning. So just work your way across. What I tend to do is I work my way across the gutters, across the top of the gutters from one direction, work my way across from back across from the other direction, going across all the bottom of the brackets, so you're getting all the brackets from the one side, swap it round, go back across, so you're getting all the brackets from the other side as well. So that way you're cleaning both sides of the brackets. I try not to spray too much up underneath the gutter because I don't want it going into the roof. I've had no problem at all doing it, and I know quite a few people that are using this, and they've all said the same. They've done hundreds and hundreds and never had a problem. So if you know the way the roof's constructed, you shouldn't, I don't think you realise that you shouldn't have a problem by using this kit. The only time you might need to be a bit careful is when you're doing the soffits, when you've got vents. You obviously don't want to hold that turbo nozzle straight up underneath the vent, blowing it all up the inside. So just be careful on the soffits or anywhere there's any vents. Just make sure you're careful with that. So once you've washed it all down with a turbo nozzle, what I tend to do is I just tend to hold the lance back a little bit, so you haven't got the full force of the turbo nozzle on it, but you've just got the wash of it basically, and that'll wash all the loose bits off. So then all you've got to do then is leave the customer your details for a review, and you should get some nice reviews because you'll do a fantastic job using this equipment, and it is so much easier than scrubbing it with a brush. Now there are a few ways you can do this a bit cheaper. You don't need the Kranzle. You could do something, you could get a Karcher, say Karcher K4 is what I use to start with, or you can even go and get a Aldi or Lidl pressure washer and use that. Totally up to you. Now there are also other companies that do lances. There's lots of companies that do lances at the moment. As I said, Q Services built this one for me specifically to what I wanted, so which worked out quite expensive, but I've now seen, since I did that, Streamline are selling them directly. Also there's Equip to Clean do lances as well. They do aluminium, and I think they've just started doing a carbon fibre one, so I'll leave a link to those in the video below. And by doing it like that, using an 18-foot aluminium lance, and if you've got a Karcher for doing your car at home or your garden or whatever, use that. Get started with it rather than forking out a lot of money for the Kranzle, for the lance, for the constant flow. You know, do it on the cheaper bit to start with, because you might not like doing it. It does take a bit of getting used to, and it can feel like you're fighting a bit when you first do it, but you soon get used to it, and once you're used to it, you'll never look back. Absolutely brilliant way of cleaning gutters and soffits and fascias. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't mind, please. That really helps us, because then we can see people are actually watching it. That helps with the analytics, and that really does help us carry on making videos, not just for me, but for all YouTube users. If you put a comment on, that also helps YouTube, because YouTube know that people are interacting with your video and they found it useful. So if you do make it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching all the way. Just so I know who it is that are watching it, start a comment for me with the word bonkers, just bonkers, and then leave it at that if you don't want to put anything else. But if you've got a question or we've got anything else to ask, drop it in the comments and let me know, and that way I'll know who's watching me, or my faithful watchers watching all the way to the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this, I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching, bye for now.